Hey guys, this video is going to talk about some converting decimals to percents to fractions and fractions to decimals percents and all three of them. I know you did this last year, you actually did this in 6th grade. I know you did it in 7th grade too, so we're just going to do a little bit quick review. So now we're going to do decimals to percents. So I have 0.6. I always think about this as a decimal. Oops, sorry about that. First time using this, so we'll see how it goes. Decimal to a percent. So that means we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right because decimal to percent. So I always say take your pen, physically move it. Whoops, that's not what I wanted, sorry. Whoops. Go back to this. Move it over 2 places to the right. So now I'm going to have 60%. Okay, now I have 0.345, and again, you want to move it over 2 places to the right. It doesn't always go at the end. People always say, well, it goes at the end. Nope. 2 places to the right, 1, 2. So now I have 34.5%. Number 3 is 1.6. 1, well, I got to do it again, 2. And what goes here is a 0 because it's a placeholder. So 1.6 is 160%. Okay? Now on to the next ones. Decimals. Ooh. This is weird. We don't need this one, so we'll skip it. Sorry about that, guys. Fractions to decimals. So 3/4. So sometimes you might just know these in your heads. Like some of you might know what 3/4 is or 3/4. And we know that 3/4 is 75 or 0.75. So you can just do, sometimes you don't need to do any work because you know these easy ones, 0.75. Well, let's say we have 3/8. I don't know 3/8 off the top of my head. So we need to figure this out. So we read this as 3 divided by 8. So we know that the top dog goes in the dog house, 3 divided by 8. We know our number has to be smaller than 1 because this is a fraction. So this is long division. 8 can't go into 3. Okay, so we need to put a decimal point. Oh, I can change my color. Put a decimal point. And we're going to add the 0. 8 can go into 30 3 times. 8 times 3 is 24. Got to borrow. Bring down the 0. 8 goes into 60 7 times, which is 56. Subtract, bring down your 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times. So 3/8 is 0.375. That is my decimal. Again, it's just long division. Now, this one has a whole number and a mixed number, and this is where people get confused sometimes. 1 2/3. This whole number 1, we just stick it out by ourselves because our answer is going to be 1 point something. So all we need to do is the division for this one. Again, top dog is going to go in the dog house. 3 on the outside. 3 can't go into 2, so put our decimal in a placeholder. 3 goes into 26 times. 3 times 6 is 18. We subtract. We have a 2. Bring it down. Oh, I'm starting to see a pattern. 3 goes into 20. 6 times. So we know this is going to be repeating. So 0.6 repeating. So 2/3 as a decimal is 0.6 repeating. Again, fraction to decimal, we have to use long division, unfortunately. No calculators. So I'm going to need to see your work when you do some worksheets because I know you can do this on a calculator. You can check it on a calculator, but I'm going to need to see this kind of work. Next one, percent to decimal, okay? So 72%, we need to make it a decimal, so we're just going to go back the other way. The decimal is really right here. So now we just move it 2 places to the left. So 0.72. Again, the decimal's at the end. Move it over 2 places to the left. 1.64. Now, the next one, we have to do a decimal to a fraction. So a decimal to a fraction. So I have 0.62, and I want to make that a fraction. There's a couple ways you can think about this. You should know your place values. Like this is the tenths, this is the hundredths. So I know that 100 has to go on the bottom because my last number is in the hundredths digit. And I know that this number just has to go on top. So this is 62 over 100 before I reduce it. So, or else I can do this. This part always goes on top. And however many numbers there are to the right of the decimal, that's how many zeros you put. 2 numbers, 2 zeros. You can think about it that way, or you can think about it as place value. To me, it's just an easy trick. However many numbers to the right, that's how many zeros I put in. Now I can reduce this. If I don't know what to do, I can start with 2. Okay, well, they're both even numbers. I can divide these both by 2. So if I divide these by 2, I have 36 over 50. Divide them by 2 again, I have 18 over 25. My next one, 0.7463. Again, I know that 463 goes at the top. Again, I can do place values, or I can just say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, or 4 numbers, so I know I have to have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Or I can know that this is the tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, and know that's the bottom. But I think it's just easier to count the numbers. Lastly, we have 1.35. Okay, again, this is a whole number, just like when we were dividing. That's numbers by itself. It doesn't go in the fraction. It's a whole number. It's not a fraction. So really, we can just cover it up. And we can say, okay, 0.35. Well, I know 35 goes on the top. There's 2 numbers to the right of the decimal. So it's 100, 2 zeros. And I can reduce 35 over 100. I can divide them both by 5, which gives me 7 over 20. So my answer is 1 and 7/20. Again, this is a whole number, 1 point something. So 1 is by itself. At any time, guys, if you need to pause these videos and go back and listen to what I said, that may be helpful. Hope this was beneficial.